Hello and welcome to Sports Fan Entertainment, here for my 2022 NFL Week 2 picks and predictions. Last week was not a very kind week for me, but also not for a lot of people. So I went 8-7-1 straight up. I was 2-3 though for my against the spread picks, my guarantees of the week. Well, turns out they weren't guarantees last week, but it's okay. We're just getting our feet dipped into the water. And week 1 historically is always very odd. It's always very unpredictable and also not particularly indicative of how the rest of the season is going to go. A lot of us remember when the Jacksonville Jaguars beat the Indianapolis Colts the first week of the season a couple of seasons ago. We all said, wait a minute, are the Jaguars going to be something? Are the Colts worse than we thought? And then the Colts went 11-5, and then the Jaguars went 1-15. So you never know when it comes to week 1, but it's week 2 now. We have more data, so let's do better with more data, shall we? Let's begin with the first game of the week. And again, remember, my guarantees, my betting picks will be at the end of the video. I'll put a timestamp down below for that. We begin with the Los Angeles Chargers at the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, this was last night's game. I tweeted out my prediction before last night's game. Twitter at the MJ Take. My prediction for this game was Chiefs 32-27. I felt this mainly because Keenan Allen was out for this game. J.C. Jackson was banged up, and I still think the Chargers really have to prove themselves on the national stage, and I was correct, so I already want to know there. Now we move on to Sunday. Sunday, we have the New York Jets at the Cleveland Browns, and what is Robert Saleh talking about? He's talking about he's taking receipts. Wow. Now, I know a thing or two about that. I take receipts from women that reject me all the time. Oh, I'm taking receipts from men that disrespect me. I'm taking receipts. Okay, it's very petty, but I can back it up. Robert Saleh. Well, then the New York Jets, I don't know about receipts they're taking. They must have a lot of receipts. They're a damn cashier. I don't know how many receipts these people have. With that said, they traveled to Cleveland, where they're 6.5-point underdogs, and I kind of wanted to take them here, but then I remembered, oh yeah, the Jets stink. And I thought the Browns were going to lose last week, and they should have. They absolutely should have. They definitely got, lucky with the late sequence there against the Panthers, but they still show they're able to run the football, and that's good enough to beat the Jets, especially with Joe Flacco at the helm, especially at home. Give me Cleveland at home, 2-0 Cleveland. We move on to the next game. We have the Washington Commanders at the Detroit Lions. The Lions were able to have a little bit of a comeback last week, but they lost because, again, Lions fans, you're not good enough yet. It's okay. You'll get there. Aiden Hutchinson's going to continue to improve. Hala Poli Puti Vita, he's not out. He's not in right now, so your offensive line isn't as good as it could be. And Jared Goff is still only Jared Goff. The pieces are building, but you're still in rebound. However, this is the first game that the Lions have been favored in like 2 years, since November 2020. Well, they're at home. That's why. If this is a neutral field, this would not be the case. I honestly don't know for this one. I literally don't know. I know the Commanders are a better team, and I know the Lions are kind of like the sexy pick here. I wanted to go Lions. I really did. But I think the Commanders are slightly better right now. I think what they're doing with Carson Wentz is kind of interesting, and I think they're going to kind of compete for the NFC East. Right now, I liked what I saw for them last week, even albeit against the Jaguars. So give me the Commanders and a very close one in Detroit. We move on to the next game. We have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the New Orleans Saints. And the Buccaneers, in the era of Tom Brady, have not beaten the Saints in the regular season, although they have in the playoffs. They have not beaten them in the regular season. Very interesting. However, and this was going to be very interesting. I already am going to admit, this very early. I was low on the New Orleans Saints, I think. No, I had them 8-9, and it was because of an inconsistent Jameis Winston. Now, they went to Atlanta, and they barely won. But, so I don't know why I'm feeling better about them, because that's kind of what I expect. But if Jameis continues to not turn the ball over, these weapons are looking good. Jarvis Landry's looking good. Michael Thomas is looking not like he used to, not his peak form, but he's looking good. And Olave is showing something. It's the defense that's not as strong as I thought it would be. So I think the Buccaneers are going to take advantage of this. I think the Bucs are going to do enough to him. But this is going to be a game to watch here. And the Saints are going to definitely be a playoff team to watch. I was definitely sleeping on the Saints. I think they're going to compete. But again, Jameis Winston has to continue to not turn the ball over. We move on to the next game. We have the Carolina Panthers at the New York Giants. The Panthers. Oh, God. See, this is going to be the game for you because you should have won last week. I feel for you. This could get ugly quick because Matt Rule has the hottest seat in the NFL, and rightfully so. And I don't even think your roster is that bad, but I feel like this season is kind of doomed. I think the omen is already roaming over your franchise. And it's actually a shame because I think Baker Mayfield had a chance to salvage, and he still does. It's not over yet. But the Giants now have confidence, and they return to New York here. And I like Brian Daboll right now, and I like what is going on, and I like that Saquon showing me something, and I like that he's showing me a bit of a resurgence. This one is really close, but I'm going to go with the New York Giants to get this win at home and get out to a surprising 2-0 start. This could be too big of a fall for the Panthers, and they may just give up on this season, kind of. There was potential here, but I don't know. It's just sometimes that's how it goes. The Giants start off 2-0. It won't last. I don't want to hear about Giants fans talking about winning the NFC East or anything crazy like that, but it's going to be a solid start for them. Move on to the next one. We have the New England Patriots at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Steelers, I told you all they're going to cover last week. That's one of my few guarantees I got correct. Patriots, I told you they were going to lose against the Dolphins, and I was correct. Patriots offense is looking weak. However, the Steelers offense is also looking still pretty weak. Trubisky didn't even throw for like 175 yards last week in 5 quarters, for God's sake. I still like the weapon in Deontay Johnson and how they're using Chase Claypool, but a banged-up Najee Harris, TJ Watt being out. Patriots desperate for a win here. They're going to go to Pittsburgh to me and get it done. Move on to the next game here, the Indianapolis Colts at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, I was looking at this game before the season. And you know, you just pencil in win-loss, win-loss, win-loss. I have the Jaguars winning this before the year, but the Colts are going to be more desperate and more on alert after their disappointing first half against the Texans. Really disappointing game overall against the Texans last week. They're going to be more ready to go. Matt Ryan's going to be more motivated to go down to Jacksonville and win. I think the Jaguars have a good chance of going to Indianapolis later on in the season when they get their chemistry going and returning the favor. But for right now, the Colts are the more desperate and experienced team and the better team. So I'm going to go with the Colts here on the road. Next game, we have the Miami Dolphins at the Baltimore Ravens. I like the Dolphins this year, people. Now, their offense wasn't particularly impressive last week, but, you know, I think Tua's going to do enough of their defense. It's still really good. However, now they travel to Baltimore, where Lamar Jackson is looking to get that new contract. He's staying healthy. He's sitting in the pocket. He's hitting touchdowns. He's playing well, despite his wide receivers still not being up to par. I hate picking against the Ravens, especially in Baltimore. They're so good there under this Lamar Jackson era. I had to pick the Ravens to win here. Next game, we have the Atlanta Falcons at the Los Angeles Rams, where the Falcons, my boy, Marcus Mariota, man, you almost had it in the bag. And just like that, there goes your season. You had a shot. I mean, you really had a shot. You could have beat the Saints, split the difference, and lose to the Rams here, because ain't no way in hell that you're going to win this game. But you had a chance. And I think the game after this, y'all in trouble after this as well. So it's 0-3. And here comes Desmond Ridder. So you had your shot. And you played pretty well. But you dropped the ball. You dropped the snap near the end of the game. You gave Jameis a chance. And there you go. You blew it. Okay? I'm still going to root for you. But you blew it. He really should have clutched that game. Damn it. I mean, wow, Mario can be frustrating sometimes, but the Rams are going to win this one, obviously. We move on to the next game. We have the Seattle Seahawks at the San Francisco 49ers, where I was dead wrong about the Seahawks last week. Man, Broncos country did not ride. I mean, my goodness, that offense was terrible, including Russ Wilson. Russ Wilson did not play well Monday night, people. He did not play well. Now they travel to San Francisco, where, hello, people, y'all do remember that the Seahawks swept the 49ers last season? Okay, why are people sleeping on this game? The 49ers did not play well while beating the Monsoon in Chicago last week. The Seahawks showed that their defense is still going to be competitive at the very least under Pete Carroll for the meantime. DK Metcalf is still DK Metcalf, and Tyler Lockett, while Geno Smith can't see him, he's still talented in and of itself, and as of this moment, Rashad Penny is healthy. Upset alert here. Now, I'm not going to pick it because the 49ers are at home, but we're going to talk about the guarantee in a second. Give me the 49ers, but upset alert here, people. We move on to the next game. We have the Cincinnati Bengals at the Detroit Lions. The Bengals, disappointed. I knew they were going to be competitive against the Steelers last week, but wow, 5 turnovers from Joe Burrow and that Bengals offense. Disappointing. 4 interceptions for Burrow himself. A Super Bowl hangover does exist. Indeed, this reshuffled offensive line having no chemistry up to this point. And now they travel to Dallas, where Dallas has a good clicking offensive line. This is going to be competitive. I'm looking forward to this one. But I'm not delusional. I had to pick the Bengals to win this game because Cooper Rush, we've only seen so much. I mean, he's just such a backup at this point. The one game that he played against the Vikings and they won was okay. It was okay. But it's still such a backup that he's such too much of an unknown for me to trust him to go to beat the Bengals, the reigning AFC champions, this early in the season. Give me the Bengals to go to Dallas and get the win here. Next game, we have the Houston Texans at the Denver Broncos. Texans almost got the W last week, but now they have a tie. My goodness. Lovie Smith is still Lovie Smith. My goodness. I still don't understand why the Texans hired this man. I guess it's a transitionary coach. My goodness gracious. Wow. What was the point in that? But anyway, Denver Broncos did not look good either. Nathaniel Hackett, you stink. Now, maybe you can get rid of that label, but as far as I'm concerned, you stink. One game is all it took. My goodness. First of all, you continue to run the ball, shotgun at the goal line with Javonte Williams. I don't know where everyone loves Javonte Williams so much. He aight. I don't know why everyone loves him so much. You continue to run shotgun, run to him at the goal line like an idiot. You continue to run Melvin Gordon at the goal line like an idiot. You don't even put Russell Wilson on a designed run once at the goal line. Hell, he only had 2 rushes the whole game. If Russell Wilson would have picked up 2 first downs with his legs in that entire game, I don't even care where, in any even one critical first down with a run, game over, the Broncos would have won easily. I don't understand why they did not run that man once. They're letting Russ cook, I guess. And by that, they mean don't throw to a wide receiver for the first quarter and a half. I have Cortland Sutton in a lot of leagues. This guy should get over 1,300 receiving yards this year, period. Throw to your wide receivers, you morons. It's unbelievable. No, let's throw to Albert Okwubunam. What are we doing? Unbelievable. Give me the Broncos to win here at home. They should bounce back fashionably. We have the Arizona Cardinals at the Las Vegas Raiders. Lost last week, as I anticipated, to the Chargers, where Devonta Adams played well and Derek Carr did not. He had 3 interceptions in that contest. So a rocky start for the Josh McDaniels-Derek Carr relationship. But the Cardinals, not a great start for them either. They got blown out last week, 44-20 by the Kansas City Chiefs. My goodness, how the Cardinals losing that one but covering. What a ridiculous opinion by me. Now, for this one, I got to go with the Raiders because they're at home. But I think this is going to be competitive because the Cardinals, they really want to avoid that 0-2 start. And the Raiders could easily choke here. I'm not saying they won't. But I feel more comfortable picking the Raiders at home in this contest. We move on to the next game. We have the Chicago Bears at the Green Bay Packers. Lost to the Vikings, as I predicted last week. They're going to have to integrate these wide receivers. Rodgers unwilling to put in the work in the offseason, and we see the end results currently. You have an interesting matchup here against the Bears, where the Bears are, to me, still the Bears. Like, I know they beat the 49ers in horrible conditions. Justin Fields made some plays. Okay. Now he's going to go to Lambeau and win here. No. Now, if they did, I'll be kind of impressed. But, I was looking at the Bears roster just last night, and I was just like, wow, how did they let this roster just get this bad? Like, how is this roster not improved? I was literally thinking about this because I was remembering, I was going through I just randomly look up NFL stats all the time just for fun, even though I already know a lot of them, just like nice reminders. And I was like, yeah, Matt Nagy won Coach of the freaking Year in 2018 as the Bears win 12-4. What the hell happened here? Now I'm looking around, Darnell Mooney's your best wide receiver. Your other wide receivers stink. You're expecting Equanimeous St. Brown to do something. Are you guys out of your minds? What do you guys do? What are you talking about? Or Byron Pringle? How did the roster get this bad? I drafted David Montgomery. He stinks. I'm looking at Khalil Herbert to pick up as a handcuff. How did the Bears get this bad? And they're 1-0. Y'all are bad. Give me the Packers to win this game at home. All right, next game, we have the Tennessee Titans at the Buffalo Bills, where I'll have my preview out for this game live tomorrow. But I'm going to spoil the prediction. The Titans are going to compete in this one, and that's no doubt about it. Look, I know, I could be biased sometimes, but people, point blank, period, if you pay attention to this team with any doubt, we're going to compete in this game. And we have a high possibility of upsetting in this game, 110%. This is a game that we show up in. Just as last week, that is a game that we do not show up in. I don't know why. I wish I knew why. I'd win a lot of money if I knew why. God, but I don't. So I got to go with the Bills because we have gotten, we kicked their ass 2 years ago in 2020. That was just a kick ass. And then last year, and I went to this game, it was very hard fought. We kind of felt like we got away with one last year on Monday Night Football. They're going to remember this. Now it's in Buffalo. I think they're going to get revenge here. If they don't, I feel great about us because we have the Bills number. I can't wait to see y'all in the playoffs, assuming we get there, and I assume we would if we beat y'all. So I would feel great about us ever facing the Bills in the playoffs if we beat them again here. Wow, do we have y'all number? But I got to go with the Bills here. All right, and then lastly, another Monday Night Football game. I don't know why they're doing this staggering nonsense. It makes no bloody sense to me. But we have the Minnesota Vikings at the Philadelphia Eagles. I have no idea. I'm just going to pick the Vikings here because I like the fact that I think they're a better team than the Eagles. The Eagles are at home, which gives them the advantage, but the Vikings are looking strong. I think I underrated them, and I had them making the playoffs. I had them 10-7, making the wild card. Same record as the Packers, but I had the Packers getting the tiebreaker because that's normally what happens. I'm feeling stronger about the Vikings. I'm feeling maybe 11 or 12 this year. They're looking really strong as long as they can stay healthy, and that's always a concern. I'm looking at you, Dalvin Cook. I'm looking at you, Dalvin Cook. I'm looking at you, Dalvin Cook. Give me the Minnesota Vikings to win this game here. We move on to my guarantees of the week. These are my betting picks of the week. We have to do better than 2-3 last week. We'll begin with the Colts -3.5. Again, they should beat the Jaguars. And when the Jaguars improve later on in the year, are they going to be talking about something different? But Trevor Lawrence is still not particularly very good. He's traumatized from Urban Meyer, I'm sure, sexually assaulting him last season. I'm sure he's still traumatized by this. And until he gets over this, I don't trust the Jaguars to do much of anything. We have the Baltimore Ravens -3.5. I feel confident that they're going to beat the Dolphins at home. I'm pretty confident about this. I don't love giving up more than 3 here. I would prefer to give up 3 or less, but 3.5, I can fade it. They should win by 4 points or more for sure, in my opinion. We also have the Seattle Seahawks plus 6.5 or 9.5. Yeah, my goodness. They swept the 49ers last year when they were bad. Well, they weren't even that bad. They were 7-10, and they swept them. Last year. Okay, this is a rivalry. This is family business, as Louis T would say. Geno Smith is playing confidently for now. God knows it won't last, but for now. So, and as Trey Lance gets his feet wet, this is a perfect opportunity to bet the Seahawks. I would even, move this line down if you want to do a teaser to 6.5 and win some more money. Cardinals plus 5.5. They should compete against the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, they really disappointed me. They took them plus 6.5 last week against the Kansas City Chiefs, and my goodness, they lost by 24. But they should be competitive this week, for God's sake. And then give me the Titans plus 10. They're going to cover. I mean, at the very least, they could really be uncompetitive, but I would trust Tannehill in garbage time to get some garbage points and a backdoor cover here at the very least, or at least like I expect at least for this line to be a push. I mean, I'd be surprised if we lose by 2 touchdowns or more. I'd be very surprised. This is a game of the Titans bounce back. But I also am taking the over 48.5 here because if the Titans lose or if they win, this is because they put up points. It's not going to be that defensive here. That points will be scored in this contest, especially the way this Bills offense is right now. So give me the over 48.5 here. So those are my guarantees of the week. So with that said, we'll move on to the chat to see if there's any super chats for picks videos. I will only really read super chats because I want to keep these kind of short. And then the longer form videos can be the Titans recaps or the Titans preview shows or the SFE3 shows. The picks videos I want to keep kind of short. But some comments of note that I will go ahead and call out. We have Atlanta Fan 21. Who said, yeah, Mario was too inaccurate and screwed up too many times in the fourth. Yeah, I mean, he had it and he blew it. I mean, he blew it. I mean, he definitely blew it. That's why I've never said that, hey, he should still be here in Tennessee. I never said that. But I'm rooting for him. We'll see. But, man, it was an upset. Oscar says you should have picked Seattle in the upset. It's very possible. I mean, it's very possible. I just think the 49ers should be able to game plan enough to beat the Seahawks in San Francisco right now. They should, but they couldn't last year. Omar Nawabi says, with only 11% of 0-2 teams making the playoffs, do you think we'll make it, considering we'll probably be one of those teams again? So that statistic, it needs to be adjusted for 17-game season. I would assume, and this is just me just being theoretical here, I would assume that we'll see over time that this number will raise to probably even as high as 15 to 17%. I really feel that adding one more game is that significant to where 4 to 6 or 7% more teams that start 0-2 will make the playoffs at 0-2. So I would go and say that 15%, at least 15% of 0-2 teams moving forward that go 0-2 will make the playoffs. It's not going to be 11% anymore. That number will raise. Will we be one of that 15%? I don't know. It's always like one team a year. And then of the teams I have starting 0-2, hold on, let me look at that real quick. Of the teams I have starting 0-2, I would put us in the probably one of those, because the only other 0-2 teams that I would have that I could see making the playoffs would be the Cardinals, that they really get their stuff together. The Cowboys, that the NFC East remains weak, which I don't think it will, before Dak Prescott comes back, or if Cooper Rush just really excels and they're able to keep the boat afloat until Dak comes back. Let's see, who else that could start 0-2 and I could still see making the playoffs? The Bengals, if they somehow choke against the Cowboys. And that's it. So, yeah, looking at that, assuming my predictions are correct, which they will not be, the Titans are the only 0-2 team that I would see making the playoffs. The Titans are the Cardinals. So there's usually one team a year. I would presume that it would be us. That would be my presumption. By the way, the Colts would be 0-1-1 if they lost, so they don't even count. So I would still feel comfortable if we go 0-2, saying that I think we're going to be one of those 0-2 teams that will still end up making the playoffs. By the way, the Raiders, if the Raiders lose, they're also a team. Like, the Raiders, to me, are possible. The Packers are not going to lose. Yeah, so I mean, I would still feel comfortable saying that, okay, although we're 0-2, we're one of the few 0-2 teams this season that could do it. So statistically, if there's 15%, that's usually one a season, we could definitely be one of the ones that season. So that's my thoughts on that. But that's a very good question. All right, so with that said, let's go ahead and get out of here. So those are my NFL Week 2 picks and predictions. What are your picks and predictions? Comment down below. I want to know. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, comment, and most importantly, to subscribe. Until next time, this has been MJ of Sports Fan Entertainment, and I'm out. See you all later.